Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Masks Monday. It's been a while and I'm out of practice and terrified, but we'll be fine. Welcome back. So we're up to session 54 of Masks of Nyarlathotep, and possibly the last session within this area of Australia, depending on what the players decide to do with their time here. However, we are kind of going straight back into what they were doing and, of course, splitting the party, because why not? But first, let's introduce the players, specifically for one person who apparently is watching and needs a fix. Let us go first with Andrew McNairn.
Yes, I'm Andrew McNairn. I used to work for the church, and I'm having a crisis of faith. I'm also having amnesia because I can't remember what we were doing. But I'm luckily we've got local lad Alan to help us out with that. Let's see what happens next.
Indeed. But first we have Lynn.
Hello, yes, I'm Lynn. My mother's a madame. I shall be inheriting the family business, so I'm trying to get into the swing of things. That's basically me.
Although you weren't successful with one person last time you tried to get them into the swing of things.
Yes, well, there's plenty more dice rolling to come.
Indeed.
No, I
We
mean,
also have...
literally, there's plenty.
Yes, okay, yes. And then there's also Mr. Liu.
Yes, my name is Liu Zhao. I'm currently on the run because I cannot be seen anymore in Shanghai. So they said, okay, we're gonna fight evil man in Australia. Wanna come? Yes, of course. Here I am.
And finally we have local man, Mr. Carter.
Semi-local, right continent, different part of it. We're at the top end at the moment.
Thousands of miles
Carter.
away.
Yes, it is miles away. Alan Carter, mining engineer from Eastern Australia. Went to Shanghai, fell in with this lot. I've had a rough couple of weeks because he's changed into a different life form altogether. He went somewhere on a bit of a break, but he's now back.
He is. Would you like to give a summary of what happened last session?
Yeah, okay. So last session we opened with Alan being one of these creatures from one of the elder creatures. Everyone else didn't really know what to do with him. There were suggestions of putting me into an asylum, drugging me, which seemed to be quite popular with Andrew. It came up several times actually in the last session, but in the end, Lou took me to a library. So we had a look around the library while Lynn hired a nurse. Actually, we found quite a lot of stuff in the library. It was the person inhabiting my body had quite a bit of luck finding some information. And Andrew, while we were doing that, went to get some weapons for Lou and Lynn, which he did successfully. He also sent a telegram to Professor Cowes in Sydney, I think it was, and he signed it D Dodge, I believe. But we got a message back like the next day saying Cowes was still in Arkham, but there was someone else we could actually meet. Oh no, it was Dodge we could actually meet, wasn't it? He'd written a book on what was that? Architecture? Not architecture.
Archaeology, but specializing in stonework. You got from his little biography in the back.
Yeah. And his area was Western Australia. So we met back. We passed on all the information we got. Andrew passed around his guns he'd bought, and we decided the next day to drive to the Daly River area. So they let me actually stay conscious in the car, apart from Andrew, who wanted to drug me. Everyone else sort of said I'd be all right. The nurse looked after me. So we drove down to the Daly River, and just as we got there, I sort of snapped back. The thing in possessing my body decided it was too boring and left. I returned just in time to have a meal at the local inn. We looked around the bar, tried to engage some people in some talk. And then the next day, we went to this house of the guy we were looking for, which appeared to be empty. We looked around the house. The back door was open. We entered, and we walked under some blood that was dripping from the ceiling through the floorboards of the upstairs. And I believe we ended just as we were going upstairs to find out what was up there.
Indeed. We also had, hence the split, we had Liu going off with Charlotte for a nice walk, hopefully to get some disclosure, I believe, for things that you had previously seen and needed to talk to somebody about, which from a mechanical perspective is probably to sort out this indefinite insanity of yours. We'll open up with you, Liu, and Charlotte. So you're heading. I'll say that you've just kind of left the hotel. You've seen the others head on off down the other direction of this dirt track, and she suggests that you and her go towards the river. It's a bit more pleasant there, sort of nice ambient sounds and so on, the birds and so on. She looks to you as you get deeper into the thicket and says, "So, what is it that you'd like me to know, or would you rather I just listened?"
It's a little bit more complicated than I'd like it to. Hello, Matteo. Nice to have you on the stream. And as I was saying, it's rather more complicated than I wish it to be. You see, I'm coming from, as you can probably tell, from China, from Shanghai, where I had a particular job, and not an estimate job. I was a sort of bounty hunter. And I saw things, mainly operating with most of the guys that are with us on this trip, and are things that still haunt me, and I cannot deal with them, and I feel like they're holding their grasp onto me, and I cannot get rid of them. Some things I cannot explain, some things I can very easily explain, but still they took their toll.
Like I've said before, I'm not a specialist in that sort of area with the mind and things, but it sounds a little bit like shell shock, if you've ever heard of that. So I'm assuming that the things you've seen involve a lot of violence in your line of work, being a bounty hunter. So you've maybe seen people be killed.
Yes, I've seen, and I dealt some blows.
Ah, yes. Well, not that I'd want to see you doing that in front of me, but no matter how tough you are or you look, and she kind of gestures to you a little bit with your very kind of scowling general, facial features, it takes all sorts in the mind to kill another person. It goes against many of our instincts as humans, as animals that are loyal to each other, that thrive on communities.
Yeah, you could say so, but that rather becomes another self nature once you do it a couple of times. So maybe consciously you don't process it like you should. If you know what I'm referring to.
So you're trying to blank out the feelings that are probably there, keeping them hidden away.
Maybe subconsciously I am. That would explain why I'm not processing this kind of things.
Right.
or things that sound supernatural of sorts, and uh, maybe it's a way that my brain is trying to opt out of these violent images. Of course, I'm not telling her about the statue that I saw coming back to life and spitting insects and stuff. Ugh.
Well, yeah, that's only one of the horrible things you've seen, but yeah, I mean, it's up to you whether you tell her any of the weirdest stuff or not, really.
I do believe that's the one that triggered my indefinite insanity. The statue
Uh,
in the volcano. I
yes,
believe that was it.
it was, although you also had to deal with the horrendous creature at Ho Fong's mansion that nearly
Yeah, the
killed
Shoggoth
everybody.
of,
And
yeah.
yeah. I mean, obviously, you don't know it's a Shoggoth, but yes, it was a Shoggoth. And certainly got rid of Perry, unfortunately, as well.
It will be missed.
Yes.
Not like Francoise, but it will be missed.
Actually, just on a slight off tangent, speaking of Perry, there's apparently a real place on the Daily River called Perry's on the Daily. It
We
wouldn't
should
have
pay
been
him
there
a
in the
visit.
20s. It wouldn't have been there in the 20s, I imagine, but yeah.
At least someone misses him.
Oh. Okay. So yeah, you're carrying on. It's a bit of a walk down to the river, actually, and there's nobody else around really. But there's plenty of noises, especially up in the trees, of different creatures, birds and things. And sometimes actually, as you're trying to open up a little bit, even though you're not telling her everything, you almost kind of get interrupted by like a parakeet or a kookaburra or something, which is a bit irritating for you. I'm just going to make a quick roll. Oh, okay. Give your listener tick if it's not already. As you're starting to tell her a bit more, you can't help but hear the sound of this very constant sound of scuttling, or maybe kind of like crickets, that kind of chirping, although it sounds a little bit different from crickets. You've never really heard anything like it before, and you hadn't heard it before either, just because it's there all the time. But now you're hearing it. You can't really not hear it or ignore it.
No, I'm moving out of the grass if there's any. I don't want
Well,
those
it's
things in my trousers.
yeah, it's still a like a path, and you're surrounded by these trees. At the minute, since it's dry season, they're not very luscious trees, so you can kind of see through them still. But the sounds are actually coming from above you in the trees.
Mm,
Charlotte doesn't seem to have noticed anything.
like cicadas, maybe, in the trees. That could be. Still, I don't
Yep.
like that. Not a single frame of me likes it. So I take her arm and saying, "Do you hear this insecty noise, like they're munching on something? I'm not feeling comfortable. Maybe we should go, please."
Oh, sure. I'm sure we're near the river now. It seems to be opening up. Now that you mention it, yes, I can hear. But they just sound like crickets or something to me. Little bugs that live in the trees. They do tend to chirp, although more so when it's hot.
That's
So,
what doesn't make me feel comfortable. That's why I'm asking to leave. I don't like insects.
oh right, okay. Oh, I suppose you don't really get this type in China, do you? May
We got
I think.
different kinds. I don't like them either.
Oh, fair enough then. Well, we're almost there. There won't be any creatures near the river this time of year. Although, given the noise up there, maybe there's a bit of a hot spell coming. Bit odd for this time of year, but there we go. It happens sometimes, I suppose. And yeah, you start hearing the sound of the river flowing, and you can actually feel a little bit of a nice breeze when you get there. it is a bit cooler when you arrive, which is good because it is starting to warm up now today. I'll say it's about 10 o'clock now. So you actually find that there is a way along the bank where you can walk. So yeah, she's happy to go that way if you are sort of head along the bank and you've got a nice view of the waters.
Of course, I'm walking fast-paced until I cannot hear the sound anymore.
Okay. So yeah, you after maybe a few minutes walking along by the river, you can't really hear it anymore. For a while, you think, oh, is it just maybe playing in my head? And you kind of think, yeah, I'm just a little bit paranoid. So yeah, you have another listen, and you definitely can't hear them anymore.
Okay, much better.
Yeah, like
Is
I
it
said,
always...
no muzzies
Sorry.
along here during the dry season.
How long is it your dry season here?
A few months. We're right in the middle of it.
Wonderful.
There's a time that we call the build up, which tends to be normally end of August, start of September, where things start getting a little bit more humid. Before the rains come proper. Occasionally, though, slightly weird things can happen with the weather. It's not always exactly the same all the way through. It can be a bit
Yeah, of
early
course.
sometimes when it happens.
Mhm.
So, like I said, maybe there is a little bit of a hotter spell coming, but we'll see. At least we've got plenty of shade from the trees.
Yeah, as long as the trees are silent, they're perfect.
Well, fortunately, on the actual river itself, the trees are a little bit away from the bank. So for now, at least, you can just kind of go on the soil, away from the trees, so you can't really hear anything in there. More of what you can hear is actually kind of the rushing water, which again is quite soothing for you. So you have a little walk along the bank. Meanwhile, back at the house. Alan was the one who got the drip on his head. The others didn't really notice, actually, because you two others kind of went a little bit further, and then Alan got the drop on the head. Now that you've seen what that was, Alan, obviously, thoughts start racing through your head as to what could be up there. Could I have a sanity roll from you, please?
Oh, okay. 64, which I've made.
Okay, just lose one for that. Obviously, something you weren't expecting, and you do start getting these feelings of dread that someone's obviously been hurt, maybe even killed. Especially given the broken window that Lynn saw earlier.
There's blood dripping from upstairs. I look up. Oh,
Yep.
Must be quite a lot of it.
Anyone else looking up? Please give me a sanity roll.
Well, kind of have to when he says,
well, yeah.
Blood coming from the
Look
ceiling.
up there at that lovely blood.
Kind of instinctive.
I pass.
Okay.
That is a pass.
Okay, so the rest of you, there's one as well. So far, just to recap, you've come through the boot room, and you're pretty much through the kitchen area now as well, where there was a few bits of broken porcelain. You're now into more of a lounge area, although it's a bit kind of worse for wear. There are a couple of these rather old and tired-looking chairs. Bits have been torn off them strangely, and you can see the feathers or like spongy area underneath kind of bulging through.
But the room doesn't look like there's been any sort of fight or anything. It's just a bit generally run down.
Well, looking further into it, you can see that a picture has fallen off the wall, like a photo, like a family photo, and it appears to have cracked the glass a little bit.
This blood that dripped onto Alan,
Mm.
it's dripped through the ceiling, has it?
It has, yeah. So when you looked up, yeah, there's this kind of this pool that you can see is starting to seep through, and yeah, it's now dripping down.
So who's feeling the presence of mind to be able to stomach whatever is up there?
I'm going to head up the stairs.
That's a good question.
I have my gun drawn.
Maybe we should wait
heading-
for him to run out the house screaming before we go up.
I'm heading up the stairs, enjoying the full confidence and support of the others, who are clearly behind me every step of the way. Unfortunately, I didn't realize how far behind me they were. But no, I'm going to try and get up there as quietly as possible. I'm not wholly. I'm worried that it's very, very fresh.
Okay. As you start heading up the stairs, but bear in mind this is not a very elaborate household. It's a little bit of a mishmash of kind of older, kind of wooden huts with a bit more sort of modern, I guess, in there as well with the masonry. So the stairs are wooden and there isn't any kind of carpet on them. As you start heading up, you do so carefully, and I'll make you roll in a second. But you notice all along the walls as you go up the staircase, there are these elaborate drawings from floor to ceiling of more large towers and skyscrapers and cityscapes. You think maybe flint or chalk or something?
Are they going upside down as well, like the others?
You notice that one side is upside down, but the other side is not.
What do you mean one side and the other? What, of the stairs? Or?
As in, on the walls, one of the walls has it drawn upside down, the other one is the right way up.
Okay, and what are they just drawn? Was it paper or wood? Is it drawn on?
It's directly onto the wall.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Do I recognise it?
You could make me. Let's go for spot hidden.
Spot hidden, which is 69. 34, which is a hard pass.
Okay. One thing that catches your eye first, Alan, is that the two drawings, even though they're different way round, per se, they are exactly the same. So every single tower is identical either side, just flipped. And yeah, you do recognize it from these foggy memories you have. You definitely remember seeing towers like this, huge and all sorts of strange shapes and dimensions that seem to end up on top, all these weird and wonderful colors. And yeah, you start, your mind kind of wanders off a little bit, and the other two of you see him almost go a bit blank.
So I've been here. I vaguely remember this.
You've been there.
Like a dream.
You've seen the painting.
No, I've seen the place. I've seen the buildings.
Yes, the painting. I have a painting. I have a painting of this place by the same artist. That's why you've seen it before. It's just
No. It's not more real than that. I was there walking amongst them.
Yes, okay. So you dreamt about it after looking at the painting.
As the two of them are bickering, Andrew, can you make me stealth roll if you still intend to advance up the stairs?
That's why he goes upstairs by himself.
It's like, oh, for God's sake.
Damn it, you're on to me. I am going to spend 3 points of luck to make that a pass.
Okay. Yeah, when you go on the first step, you do hear it creak a little bit, so you immediately kind of take your foot back, try and find a better foothold, and you manage to avoid the more creaky parts of the staircase. As you head up and you start seeing the landing and a few rooms either side, the drawings continue throughout, more of these towers, and it's almost like they're just never ending, these things. And you start feeling a little bit disorientated the more you look at them, as if they're just kind of carrying on infinitely, and the walls are kind of stretching a little bit.
Try and refocus myself to the door that I need to go through.
Okay. Yeah, give me a power roll.
I really don't want to. Because my power is shit. Yeah, I did not want to do that.
So you failed.
I failed.
Okay. You think you see a door which would make sense in terms of where the dripping of the blood comes from. So you start heading towards it, but then again, like the walls, the door starts stretching upwards and the perspective starts changing in front of you. And you hear the sound of something kind of liquidy and slimy coming from the other side of the door. Like something slimy moving around.
Right. As I get to the door, as I'm facing the door, what side is the handle on? As I'm facing
Let's say the left side.
left side.
Yeah. So
For
you
me.
use your right hand normally if you
Right.
want. Yeah.
So I'm going to go to the other side of the door so that that handle, I'm away from the door and that handle is right next to me.
Mhm.
I'm not stretching across the door to get to the handle. Is it a handle or a doorknob?
It's a doorknob. Yeah, I'll say a doorknob.
Damn, really wanted it to be a handle. Right, I'm gonna turn the doorknob,
Mhm.
and then literally I'm going to use my elbow to sort of shunt, almost like a snooker stun shot, just to shunt the door open.
Okay. As the door flies open, you see seemingly nothing. It's completely dark, and you can't even see the corners of the walls or the dimensions or anything. It's like you're staring into a void. But then, as you're squinting and trying to make out anything, you do see something very, very small, maybe an object or a figure, but only a few centimeters tall. You do kind of see a way towards it, and you hear the slimy sound.
I sort of kick my head, so I'm sort of, as if I'm going to shout back down the steps again. Guys, it's kind of strange up here.
Oh, he's gone upstairs.
You should have a conversation with Alan.
Well, what's wrong? I'll start going up with him.
At the risk of sounding obvious, it's dark in here. It's very dark. The only thing I can see seems to be either very small or very far away.
Turn the light switch on.
I'm
Go
not
with the
sure I
candle.
want to. I'm not sure I want to find the switch.
Probably isn't.
There's a
switch
very
on.
nasty,
Spreading out
slimy
like a candle, isn't it?
sound coming from within.
Okay, and
Okay.
at the moment you can't see it, so bring in a light source.
Anyone
Rummage
got a
around
torch?
for a candle.
Right,
Lantern?
hold on, no. Right, okay, so for the rest of you who are presumably now coming up the stairs, come to think of it, it is a bit dark in here, especially given it was full sunshine by the time you got here. In fact, it does seem darker than it was even when you came in. But when you get up the stairs, you do see that Andrew has opened a door, but it's not pitch black like he's saying it is.
Mhm.
Andrew, you start smelling something almost like a bullet has been shot out of your gun recently. And you actually start seeing a wisp of smoke coming out of it.
Andrew, what are you doing?
My
And then
gun
you
is
start...
my gun is telling me it got fired, and it hasn't.
Oh, but it has.
God, he's talking to his gun.
You killed me, remember?
Okay, at that point, I decide that there are several important things that need to happen on the ground floor.
You definitely hear it coming from the tiny figure.
Do
Inside
Wheels
that
hear
room.
that, or does only Andrew hear it?
You don't hear anything. You just see him sniffing his gun and saying it's been fired.
I haven't killed anyone recently.
Good.
Not any one of you.
Can we hear Andrew's replies, but we can't hear the other half?
You can hear his replies, yes.
Then who?
Come to think of it, though, you did kill one of your own. That poor, poor little soul.
That was entirely accidental. He got in the way of the bullet.
Andrew, hello.
It's all right.
Gun
It's all right.
is not
I'm just
talking
having.
to you. It's a gun.
I'm not talking to the gun. I'm talking to the very small / faraway figure in the room.
Have a
Andrew.
look in the room.
Yeah,
What-
Come here, Andrew. Come and see me properly.
Hang on.
How does one
Right.
respectfully and quietly decline that invitation?
Sorry, Becky, you were going to say something.
I was going to say, right, is there a candelabra or torch or other light source available?
Yeah, there are some quite basic light bulbs, I'll say. So yeah, you can easily find a light switch.
All right, I'll turn it on.
Okay, you turn them on. Again, fairly sort of dim bulb, but yeah, there's a bit more light in here now. Andrew, you hear a click, presumably from Lynn doing a light switch, but it's almost as if it gets darker still. And then you feel something
It's on off the
Pulling.
light.
pulling at your chest into this room.
No.
What
I start
Alan
pulling
I
back.
see?
Yeah, it's not dark for us, is it?
So, Lynn and Alan, what you see is it appears to be a bare room of sorts. As you go in, I mean, do you go in a little bit further to have
No,
a
I'm
look?
just going to walk
Well,
into it because
well,
it's
we're
an
looking
empty
into the
room as
room,
far as
yeah.
I'm concerned.
Okay.
Trying to see what Andrew's looking at.
Okay. So you go in, and yeah, it is fairly bare in here. More broken things, lots more drawings. You do definitely smell something in here, though, something rotting.
Yeah, because as of yet, I haven't actually entered the room.
But you
No.
say it's bare, but we smell rotting. So
Okay, it's bare when you first go in, but you can smell something maybe round the corner or something nearby that is rotting.
Or
okay, I've
behind the
gone
door
into
or
the
something.
room. And there's nothing in there.
It's an L-shaped room.
Right.
So
Okay.
you've initially come in. That's what you can initially see and smell, what have you.
Well, I'm going
So
to
you think
ignore
there's
Andrew's
something around this
madness. I
corner.
mean, he's a priest. It's not like he doesn't talk to himself all the time. So I'm going to just ignore him and figure he's having a moment and have a look around the rest of the room.
Kind of shake him by the shoulders, walk past. Come on, Andrew, snap out of it.
Okay. So what then Andrew sees is Lynn kind of just passes you into the dark.
Don't
as
go
you-
in the dark place. The little smash faraway man is being very nasty.
I assume you're talking to your gun again.
Alan tries to kind of grab you and shake you up, but it's almost as if he's not really there. Like his body is made up of smoke and it keeps wisping around everywhere. And you just hear that deep voice again saying they are not important, but you are important. I want to mold you.
No,
make
thank
you
you.
strong.
At this point, I am deliberately heading myself down the stairs. If
Okay.
I can.
Give me another power roll, please. As you start feeling this pull become very physical.
Oh, yes. Oh, that would be 9.
9. Okay.
That's an extreme.
Okay. So yeah, you feel it getting physical. So you try and think, if you maybe grab it and pull it away, then it will leave whatever it is. So you do so, and it does seem to move, but at the same time you get pushed back, and you can't help but hit the floor behind you, and the door slams shut. And as the door slams shut, you suddenly see that it has gotten very dark outside, although it's light in here from like a light bulb or something, and you hear the sound of a thunderclap, and that's everybody hears the sound of a thunderclap. Those of you in the room, you hear Andrew kind of give a cry, fall back, and the door slams shut.
He shut the door.
I didn't shut the door. The door shut. The little slashed far away man shut the door.
Andrew, can I have another sanity roll, please, for that?
I'm not surprised after me calling him the little slashed far away man all day.
It's not a little far away, man. It's your gun. Stop talking to it. It's a gun.
And it's me you wanted to put in the asylum.
Yes, I made my sanity roll.
Okay. Okay, you take 2 from that.
Oh, balls.
Even so, that feeling in your chest is still a little present, and it's very unnerving. So, those of you in the room, you find out the cause of the stench quite quickly. You see, and also you think this is where the blood's coming from, you see a single corpse splayed on the ground, quite violently killed. Basically, they've been cut in several places, like their wrists, their stomach, things like that.
Oh, nasty way to go.
Is it an Aboriginal person?
Yeah.
It is, yes.
Roughly matching the description of the painter, I presume.
No, actually. But Alan, given that you saw the broken picture downstairs, you think this might be his father.
Could be the older guy in the picture downstairs. Is his hair sort of white or?
I mean, it's mostly kind of very short, but yes, you can see the sort of silver in there.
I think it's an older man.
He's not old, but yeah, he's definitely sort of in
older, but
15,
yeah.
16.
There's no indication of any sort of weapon or anything. They've taken that with them, whoever did it.
You see that in the corpse's hand, still clenched quite tightly, is basically like a poker that you think maybe he used to defend himself or something like that.
Is there any blood on the poker? On the end of the poker?
Yes, there is a little bit on the end.
No, it looks like he put up a good fight. It just wasn't quite enough.
Well, it seems that the fight started downstairs and ended up here. Come on, let's check out the rest of the house.
Okay. As you head on back out to the landing, you can definitely hear the sound of rain outside.
Oh, it's raining there as well. I thought it was the dry season.
It is the dry season. I mean, a little bit of pitter-patter is normal, but the more you hear it, the more noise, from the rain you can hear, as if it's very dense.
Is there still more thunder?
You do hear more thunder, yeah. This is unusual for this time of year.
Well, if we check this place out and get back to the hotel as soon as we can.
Yeah, we'll just explore the next room.
Okay. And you do so. Meanwhile, cutting back to Liu for a moment. So as you're walking along, you also feel rain and the sound of thunder in the distance. It sort of comes on gently for a minute or so, and then it definitely starts intensifying. And Charlotte's looking a little bit uncomfortable from this and wraps her coat around her a little bit.
Yeah, we should definitely go back before we are completely soaked.
Yes. Okay, and basically there's really only one way back, which is on the bank. There isn't really another path, straight onto the land because it's all quite sort of dense trees. Unless you do try and go that way, you can do, although it's possible to get lost. So either way,
No, I'm going the way that I know.
whether you know. Okay,
The
so you
path that I
start
know.
you start heading back, and this rain gets very, very intense after only a couple of minutes, and you start feeling really quite drenched through. It's also very warm, and you can see as well on the bank and on the kind of the soil nearby that it's starting to steam just because of how hot it's been, during the day and things. And now suddenly this rain is coming, and also it's a little worrying because you're noticing with the river being right next to it, it's rising at quite an alarming rate. It's getting all churned up. You can see that it's like full of sand and things. It's changing color, and you actually feel everything quite unstable beneath your feet.
Okay, first of all, I'd say we hurry up a little bit. Second of all, this isn't normal, is it?
No, not this time of year at all. No, this is the type of thing you get right in the middle of monsoon season.
Okay, so before the land slips under our feet, I suggest we make a run for it.
Okay. Could I have a combined con and dex roll from you, please?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Con and Dex, oh, same value. That's an 8, an extreme.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. I suddenly wondered if I used one of these cards for her. But if not, I found one which will work fine. So, oh dear. Her dex isn't particularly good. Okay. So she keeps up with you, but unfortunately she stumbles quite badly at one point as the ground gets very, very soft and she falls. You can actually see that the water has started seeping up very, very close to you, and you actually start feeling the water in your shoes as the ground is just getting kind of sucked in with this water.
I'm picking her up.
Okay.
I ask her if she's injured, and then help her across.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just a twisted ankle.
Okay, so can you move fast?
Maybe not as fast as you, but I'll try.
Of course, I'm holding on to her so
Okay.
that she doesn't fall again.
Yeah, okay. And you hear another thunderclap go off, this time a bit closer to before. Again, as well, with the darkness, the darkness is closing in now, and this is so strange and confusing for you in the middle of the day. Even with, Shanghai, yes, they have things like typhoons and so on, but this kind of freak storm like this is very unusual for you. So you're stumbling around trying to help her along, and again the ground is getting more and more difficult to stay level on. Do you keep on the bank or do you head up further?
I'll try and go as inland as I can,
Okay.
hopefully to find some stiffer ground.
Okay, no problem. So you manage to clamber up onto this more solid bank and head into the trees a little bit more, and you can still hear the rain very, very loud from where you are, but at least you feel like you're a bit more solid ground. After a few more minutes of walking as well, you see that the river is now very, very high, to the point where the bank is almost non-existent. The water is also very fast flowing now.
We'll just keep walking.
Okay.
I'm not waiting for the rain to stop.
Okay. Could I have a power roll, please, Liu?
You may. And I failed.
Okay.
I didn't fumble, but I failed.
It's fine. Now that you're back in the forest, yes, okay, you're away from the immediate danger, but at the same time, your mind can't help ruminate about that noise again in the trees.
Oh no.
And then, lo and behold, you start hearing it again in its chitter-chatter.
Okay. Can we move a little bit faster? Do you
Yeah,
feel
she's
like
happy
it,
to
can you?
try and move at your pace, yeah. And
Okay.
again, because it's more solid, you can sort of do a more brisk jog if you prefer.
That's what I'm doing. Getting as far away from the insecty sound as I can.
Yeah, the ground is getting a little bit softer, like it's getting a bit muddy. But again, it's still okay to go through it. It's weird as well because the trees, they've got leaves on, but they're quite dry. And like Becky's just said in the chat, insects during rain, the sound doesn't get any quieter or anything. They're still there.
Okay. As I said earlier, I'm imagining things maybe to cope out something, but I'm still going as strong as I can to leave this ugly sensation behind.
Okay. With the darkness, it's getting hard to see as well. So you're kind of trying to use the trees as a point of reference and trying to keep the river on this side of where you can hear and things like that. And yet you don't really see the main path you came along before. But then you start hearing more scuttling, like different types of scuttling. And you think for a second that the tree trunks are sort of shifting or moving slightly, but then you realize it's because there are little tiny creatures in tens, maybe hundreds, scuttling along all down the trunks of the trees. Could I have a sanity roll, please?
Oh, for fuck's sake. It's a pass.
Okay. You try and look further ahead to see if you can see a way out of this, but you do lose 2 sanity from this sight of just so many beetles, cockroaches. Some of them you don't even know what they are. Although, as you're trying to focus and look around, you can see that Charlotte's become distracted by these creatures as well, but more in fascination than fright or worry. And she actually points with a sort of a limp finger at one of the masses of creatures coming down and says, "I think those are Christmas beetles. Aren't they pretty?" And you do see kind of glints of gold and green in them.
I don't give a flying fuck what they are. Please, hurry. Please get out of these woods. Thank you. And I start going even faster if I can.
Yeah, you can do. Give
Given
me...
that I am indefinite insane again because I lost sanity. I'm just looking
You did.
for... Yeah.
You did, didn't you? I completely forgot. Okay. So yeah, you're more than happy to. Yeah, you can sprint away as much as you can. But have you kind of got her by the hand or by the elbow or something as you're trying to lead her away?
Given how close she is, maybe I tried to.
Yeah, it's fine. Either way is fine. But basically, as you carry on and you're feeling your heart pounding in your throat, this feeling comes on a bit more gradually than before, but then you start feeling little scuttling on your hand, I'll say. and you realize that there's this string or this colony of ants just going over her arm onto your own and starting a little trail up your arm.
Oh
And she's
no.
looking at them and giggling as if it's like playtime or like a child or something.
I'm smacking the insects as hard as I can to scoop them out of my clothes.
Okay.
I mean,
Um,
if she's happy to have them, good for her.
I mean, there's quite a lot. You think there's going to be more maybe on her legs, because they did seem to be crawling down the trunks onto the ground. They didn't seem to fly or anything. So you're maybe a little worried about her. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're more concerned about yourself, come to think of it. But yeah, you start like hitting them off your own body and trying to get them off. Could I have a luck roll from you, please?
Failed.
Okay. You feel something bite you in the back of the neck as you miss one of them. Oof. Okay, I'm going to leave that there for a moment. For the first like initial thing, you feel like a really quite nasty stinging bite, and you do manage to pull it off or slap it, no problem, and you see it kind of all mush on your hand. But yeah, you start to feel itchy on the back, and it starts to swell a little bit.
If
And
I'm not getting superpowers, I'm gonna be mad.
and yeah, you see, well, you think you see Charlotte still, and she falls a little behind again as you're busy trying to slap at this, whether it's a beetle or something, you don't know what it was. And she then starts kind of staggering around of her own accord, and it's as if these creatures all over her, well, they are all over her now. You think they're kind of getting more and more on her. It's almost if they're getting a little bigger as well, and she's starting to giggle less and less, and her tone is starting to go down. And then you start hearing it turn into screams, and she goes, "Ah, get them off! Please help! Get them off!" And while you're busy thinking about that, let's go back to the others for a second.
For fuck's sake.
Okay. So those of you, are you exploring the rooms together one by one, or are you kind of panning out? Because there are sort of 3 or 4 rooms up here that you haven't looked through.
Yeah, just going to go to each one in turn. I mean, Andrew's useless. He's talking to his gun. Alan never keeps up. So
Andrew's not talking. I'm not talking to my gun. I was talking to the small / far away person.
as previously stated.
And Alan is muted.
That's what I mean. He just doesn't keep up.
I'll remember that when you mute yourself, Troitel. Yeah, I'll see Lynn go into one room and I'll go into the next one and I'll check that one out.
Okay. Lynn, I'll say that you open an upstairs bathroom. It's a pretty basic affair, really, no more than a toilet and a sort of basic bathtub sort of affair. Again, quite sort of smelly in here. You also see a bit more blood in here, on the sink in particular, as if maybe someone's been hit against the sink or something similar. Alan, you go into a bedroom, and it's a single bed, and in here there are the most drawings you've seen so far. Again, all over the walls, but also on the ceiling, on the floor. You can see drawings all over the place. Some have been kind of very elaborately framed, and others are just like scraps of paper, or just anything that is drawable on. So whether it's like bed sheets or something like that, it's all over the place. More memories start coming back to you as well, and as well as the towers, you remember seeing kind of dome-shaped buildings in the background where you think you might have been. And you have no idea what they were for specifically, but they were just kind of a shape in the landmass or cityscape where you were.
I'll look through a few drawings and see if I can identify any of those shapes in the drawings as I search the room.
Do you mean like if you're kind of reaffirming you were in a specific place? Okay.
Yes. So if you see that these drawings actually are what I remember, separate to what Lynn's
Okay.
picture
Yeah.
was.
All right. Could I have a no roll, please?
No, so that's intelligence. No,
Education.
it's education. So that's which is 48, which is a pass.
Okay. So looking at like the drawings in here and so on, yeah, most of it appears to be where you might have been, you think. So again, sort of similar shapes and structures and things. But again, you didn't go many places as far as you can remember, and it's still quite vague. But there is a section that you do spot, which you think is maybe a bit older. Like the shapes are a little different. They're maybe a bit more crude, and you're kind of thinking this through, and like, oh yes, they do look a bit crude. And then you think, well, why would I think that? They look incredibly advanced. And then you think maybe that's the other person or other figure thinking kind of thing. So you get a little bit of a lapse.
What's that drawn
on? That you notice is on, basically it's on a wall with a window.
Right. Okay.
And even though it's dark, it's sort of looking out. There's a little bit of, you think, a view. It's sort of more open fields out of this window.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's not on paper. I can't take the picture with me, so I'll study it a bit. I'll glance at the window. I'll finish searching the room and try the next one.
Also, just to clarify as well, that sort of older drawing is also upside down.
Okay, upside down.
Okay. Also, Alan, from where you are and you're looking at this extra drawing, you hear the sound of whimpering coming from the next door along.
Oh, not the one where Lynn went. Okay.
No, the third one.
I'll go back to the door and I'll call Lynn and move to the one with the whimpering.
Okay.
Andrew,
whilst this is all going on, what are you doing?
Well, I'm hoping I'm sort of picking myself back up now.
Yeah, yeah, because you pick yourself back up. That's absolutely fine.
Right. So there were 3 other rooms other than that one.
Yeah.
So whichever the last room is that they haven't went into yet, I'm going to go in there and have a look-see. Okay,
no worries. So you kind of almost bump into Alan a little bit as he's been exploring the room next to it, and Lynn's been looking in the toilet and things. So yeah, you head on in, and you do hear this whimpering sound as well, Andrew. And you see quite quickly, you think it's a master bedroom. There's like a double bed in here. It's a bit more tidy, not much though. Yeah, you hear this whimpering from the other side of the bed, and you see maybe the top, like the top segment of somebody's head, and
my gun is up. My gun is up
a little bit.
My gun is up like that, and it's just right. You slowly get to your feet, nice and slow.
I had to do it. I had no choice. You gotta believe me. They were dangerous.
We can have a nice conversation, preferably away from this house. But we can have a nice conversation. But first of all, you've got to come up. Come on. Up on your feet.
You see, like, sort of his eyes and nose kind of peeking up over the bed, and they're you think bloodshot from just crying for hours. He's not really getting up though, so could I get you to make me a persuade roll of sorts? Or possibly intimidate, depending on how you want to play this.
It's going to be persuade. Simply because I cannot intimidate anyone out of a paper bag. But persuade, I can actually make a reasonable attempt at. Next time.
Okay. You just hear him whimper louder, and he's shaking his head. I can't take it back now, but I had no choice.
You get the hell up. Enough
He's
of
not.
this.
He's not moving. As you do you come round the bed to see him?
I'm going to come round the bed.
Yeah. You definitely think it is Bigbush from the description you've been given. But yeah, he's basically sitting cross-legged and he's got this big carving knife in his hand, covered in blood, and right beneath his feet you think is his mother, who's also been stabbed in the chest in various places. Could I have a sanity roll, please, for seeing that?
Okay, that one I made. And a canter as well. I kind of done that with a persuade roll.
Okay. Okay, so you lose 1 sanity for that.
It's death by 1,000 sanity cuts, this, isn't it?
And as you see this sight in front of you, and you think, well, what on earth do I do with him? You can't help but feel this slight shift beneath your feet, as if the floor has gone a little bit slanted, and you
What?
hear another thunderclap outside.
Whoa. Right, you, sonny boy. Knife, down.
I think that'd be a good time to take a short break.
Ooh.
Balls.
Will do.
BRB.
Okay. How are the video games going then, Becky?
Video games?
Are you working on a video game? You're usually working on a video game.
No, I've been working on a board game. I have done a little more to the interior editor for the city game, corporation game. I want to do building interiors. So I've been doing an editor that allows me to take the model of the exterior of the building, builds a mesh for a given floor, and then I can lay out walls on that floor, and it all assembles that all into a single mesh. So that's sort of part one of doing that. There's still more to do, but texture unwrapping and stuff. But but it's coming along. I sorted out all of the objects I'm going to put inside the rooms, right down to plug sockets and light switches and microwaves and ovens and children's toys and beds. So many sofas and chairs. Oh God, I can't even begin to describe how many chair models I've had to sort out.
Well, the city is the size you got, you must need quite a few.
Office desks, home office desks, variants, because of course you can't just have repeating the same thing. There must be like 30 or 40 odd different desk designs. And of course there's the stuff that goes on top of desks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kettles, kitchen utensils, bedside cupboards,
Carpets.
pictures on the walls. Oh, I haven't done carpets.
You haven't done carpets yet?
So it's just going to be a floor texture. But,
Okay.
well, several different ones.
You could do some because you've done a lot of jokes outside with the signs and stuff, and I suppose you could do some with the pictures in the apartments and things.
No, I'm going for a simpler aesthetic, so it's more abstract. Yeah. It's just, there's so much.
Well, yeah, you didn't take on an easy task for yourself to start with.
No, I didn't, did I? That was a bit dumb. I don't know if I'll ever finish. Probably not, to be honest. But no, over New Year's I've been doing this board game. Lord of the Rings meets World War One's 2, so forth.
Because why not?
Yeah.
This is of course the game where Gandalf will be standing there saying to the Balrog, "You shall not pass," and the fucker just grabs a plane and drives over him.
Well, I realised I've made a slight mistake. Mithril armor stats are a bit too high along with adamantite because the infantry are a bit stronger than a World War One Mark One tank at the moment if they've got sufficiently upgraded armor. So I've got some tweaking to do on the numbers still, but it's getting there. I'll do play testing.
If you like the idea of Nazguls and planes and Balrogs and tanks, get ready
For mithril tanks.
Mithril tanks, I like it.
Yeah.
Mithril tanks.
However, back to not quite World War One, but certainly middle World War, between World War One and World War Two. Anyway, I tried to do a segue, but it didn't work. So, Liu, you've had a little bit of time to think about what you want to do. You're definitely seeing all these bugs almost try and, you think, engulf Charlotte, and she's screaming at you to get them off.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you said. Are you talking to me again, Jason? Right? Okay.
Yeah.
No, what I was thinking about was as she's screaming, because I guess these roaches / beetles, whatever the fuck they are biting her. I was maybe thinking about looking for a loose branch on the ground and maybe like eating the bugs. Hopefully they will fall out of her, most of them. I'm not touching them with my bare hands.
Okay, so you're getting a big stick and you're kind of trying to brush them off her.
Kinda, yeah, if that makes sense.
Okay. So yeah, you can get a stick, no problem. You're starting to feel a bit more of a stinging though, just in the back of your neck, and it's just niggling at you a bit. And you're feeling a little bit short of breath as well. Can you
Oh, for
take
fuck.
1 damage, please? But you're fine to carry on, and you find kind of a rotting branch you can just pull off, and you go back to her. She's now kind of trying to lean against a tree and kind of try and hit herself against it to at least try and get them off. And you're trying to get them like this, but it's just not cutting it. That as soon as you brush some off, it's like more seem to appear.
Oh, fuck. I have no ideas. Uh, uh, it's like I'm brushing them off, but more appear. But she's leaning on the tree, so allegedly they're coming from the trees.
Uh, yes, they're coming from the trees. You can't really quite tell. They just seem to be relentless.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I'm trying to eat her with the stick, and hopefully kill some of them to see
Okay.
if that maybe is different.
Okay. Give me a roll to hit just to see, because this wood is quite rotten. So let's see if you actually deal any damage to them before it breaks.
As in brawl, just regular brawl.
Yeah, brawl's fine. Or actually no, you wouldn't really have a special skill for your hatchet, would you?
No. That's a pass, regular.
Okay. Yeah, so do you have any damage bonus?
No.
No, okay, I didn't think so. Okay, yeah, so you get a few bits off her, and she's trying to pull them off, but you can see that her hands are kind of red and a bit swollen as she's trying to pull them off.
I'll just ask her how she's, if they beat her, but I'm assuming the answer will probably be yes.
Yeah, they're not Christmas beetles, that's for sure. And you can kind of hear this sort of slight hysteric tone in her voice, maybe trying to cope with it or something.
I'll try and beat them once again.
Okay. As you're doing that, and some of them are now coming off her, you start seeing her crawl and try and scrape them off, and then she holds one in her hand, and again she develops this sort of fascinated look on her face, and she turns it upside down, and like the little legs are dangling a little bit like that, and she'll say, "Oh, wonder how it tastes. It's supposed to be good for you." And then she just very casually chucks it in her mouth and starts chomping down on it. And you can hear the crunching just amplifying around you.
I am so tempted at shooting her in the face before it's too late.
It's up to you.
Out of empathy, I just start screaming at the top of my lungs, "What the fuck are you doing? What did you think that was a good idea?"
Well, I can't eat all of them. You might have to help. But we might not be able to get back. We might be stranded here for all we know.
Are you out of your damn mind? It took us minutes to get where we were. We just need to make our way outside of this damn woods. If you could stand up and move.
She looks behind her, towards the direction you're supposed to be heading in. And she looks back to you and says, "It just seems to be all trees to me."
And you're the local. But yeah, I mean, these words are going to end at some point. If we stay here, we will never know. So please get up. Please get a move.
Okay. She's looking quite weak at this point. You can see that more parts of her are looking swollen, so her hands a bit on her neck and cheek and things. So she just tried to stand up, but she obviously needs your help to do so.
Is she still covered in maggots?
Not
bugs
really,
and
no. There's a few little stray ones, but most of them appear to have gone for now.
Okay, so with my branch, I scoop out the remaining ones,
Okay,
and then I help her up.
okay. No worries. So, yeah, that's fine. And yeah, you definitely think that she's going to need something, maybe at least like a balm to try and calm down the swelling. And you can't help as well feel your bite, you think, on the back, excuse me, on your neck, get just more and more angry and inflamed. And it really feels itchy, like intensely itchy.
I'll try and not scratch it. Hopefully.
I'm going to need a power roll for that.
Hard pass.
Okay, so yeah, you try and just focus on the way forward and getting her to safety as well. Again, the ground is getting softer and softer underfoot, and you can definitely hear a squelching from the mud as you're trying to get through. And actually, at times, the ground is so soft that it almost kind of sucks your foot in. You have to yank it out a little bit in order to get going forward. So the movement now for you is slower than it was. As you do start seeing a break in the trees, though, eventually, and it does feel longer, strangely, than a few minutes, which it was before when you were walking along. You can see this almost like a stream of water just coming down alongside you into the river, as you see all the sand from the main path just almost like another river has formed, just tumbling through the ground. You could maybe walk across it, but it would be very, very slippery. You certainly couldn't walk up it.
No, we're walking up. I mean, if
Okay.
Charlotte cannot do that, can barely walk on her own, I'm not leading her towards this running sand river we got in front of us.
She can walk, but with help. So she's not like completely out of it or anything.
How fast and deep is the sand?
It's about ankle high, but it is rushing quite fast.
Okay, so I try and lift her up
Okay.
so that just one of us is doing the walking. But in the meantime, I'll have more weight so that I won't be easily taken out by the current.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you kind of take her and you start carefully trying to head up this sort of slippery, sandy path it's now become, and just seeing more now as well of like the trees. They appear to have opened up a bit further, and you can make me a spot hidden roll at this point as you're starting to maybe look for the main town.
No.
Okay. I mean, it's a bit of a slope anyway, so you can't see much from where you are, especially as it's dark. So you think, okay, this must be the path. Let's go on up it. So you do so as the rain continues to fall. Meanwhile, back at the house. So, like I said, Andrew, yeah, you felt this strange shifting under your foot, like the floor was moving slightly.
I'm not going to look down. I'm going to say, Alan, Al, did you feel that? The shifting underneath? I felt that the floor moved slightly.
Did I feel that?
Now that you think about it, yeah, I mean the floor does look a little bit more slanted than when you last took a few steps.
There's something wrong. Maybe something to do with the rain outside.
Possibly. I still have my gun trained on this guy,
Okay. He
refusing to take my eye off him.
he has obviously reacted to you talking about the floor moving, and says it's coming earlier than I expected. Maybe this is our chance to escape this place. Maybe we can be free and go with them and be
It's
safe.
very easy to get free. First of all, you put the bloody knife down.
He clutches it to his chest and says, What if she gets back up again? I can't be certain. They did that before.
Well, given the state that she's in currently, I think we can outrun her. Now put the fucking knife down now.
He's refusing to drop it or put it down just by you
Cock the
shouting
weapon.
it. Okay. He holds a hand out and the knife out kind of together like this. I'm not going to hurt you, not unless you're one of them.
One of who?
I've seen dreams of people, dead people all over, full of death and disease, and then somebody says some words and then they just get back up again as if nothing's happened. And then they move freely, like they're living again.
Well, you've been dreaming.
Drop the knife.
Okay, he does eventually drop it.
Move. Use the gun to signal him towards
Oh, you're
the
trying to
door.
get him out of the room. Okay, so
Yeah.
he starts slowly standing up and he's like, where are we going?
Out of the house seems like a good start.
But we don't need to go anywhere. We can stay. We can be taken there. Can't you feel the ground moving under our feet?
Yes, which is rather why I want to get out the house.
Taken where?
He kind of looks to you for answers, Andrew, from the taken where sort of.
I think he was asking the
Yeah, where are we going to be taken to?
But the great
house,
city, the great city. It's still mostly intact, I think.
Well, I'm sure we'll find a bus service. Move.
I'll point at the walls. This city here.
Yes, not the old one, not the ancient one. That one's been overrun by bad people, but there is safe. While this is all going on, then you feel more shifting going on beneath your feet, and you also hear the sound of creaking from some of the supports.
Okay, I seem to have been in the bathroom a while, so have I found like anything in the medicine cabinet, or have they been staring at the skid marks like they're tea leaves or something?
Okay, I'll say that in the medicine cabinet, there's a few barbiturates, but nothing specifically out of the ordinary.
Okay. Well, then I'd just make my way into the bedroom where all the action seems to be happening. Like, Andrew, you're waving your gun around again.
Yes, it makes me feel all manly. Now,
Yes, but you were just claiming to be talking to a distant far person that only you could see whilst looking at your gun. So I'm just a little bit worried if you should be anywhere near a firearm right now.
Well,
And you must be the artist, I presume.
I do draw. Yes, I try and draw what I see.
He's saying their house is going somewhere.
Okay, well, I've heard stranger things, oddly enough, today. What is this city you draw? What's important about it?
It contains a great race. I don't quite understand what they are, but it seems like the only place to be safe now. Now that there are from these dead people that can come back to life. I don't want any part of this place anymore.
Did your parents come back to life?
They seem to, yes.
Did they die originally?
They went away, and he starts looking kind of vacantly around as if he's trying to remember, but he's finding it difficult. Certainly from first glance of the bodies, they don't appear to look particularly decayed. If any, especially this one in front of him is very, very fresh.
And what's so dangerous about dead people who've come back to life? I mean, if they've come back to life, aren't they just alive again?
He looks at you like you're crazy.
Damn your logic.
Dead people don't come back to life.
Well, you just said
everyone
they
knows
did.
that. But these ones do, but that's not normal.
Yes, but how is that dangerous or unsafe?
Well, if dead people can come back to life, then what else could happen? What maybe the dreaming is manifesting itself here somehow. Maybe it's trying to tell me something.
Look, this is obviously a deep theological discussion. Could we possibly have it away from this house?
Why? What?
It is
Are
moving.
you having another one of your episodes?
I'm rather worried I might.
It does seem to be subsiding a little bit.
Yes.
It could be the rain washing away some of the post foundations.
I'm worried that the house is about to collapse on itself slightly more immediately.
And in fact, as you say that, you actually hear the sound of a scream from outside, you think at street level. And sort of general panic going on.
Oh, can we find a
female
window?
scream?
Male scream, yeah.
Can we find a window and look out?
Yeah, there's a window in here. So it's quite difficult to see again because it's so dark. But yeah, basically the street, which is nothing more really than a dirt track, is almost washing away at this point, and it's all the kind of loose sand that's been hot for some time. It's just going away like it's melting butter, and you can see that there's a smaller house opposite, which is actually starting to sink into the ground, and there's a few people trying to get out, and others panicking in the street, and there's a car as well. They're struggling to get away.
Move.
Okay.
I'm heading down.
I don't think going outside is actually particularly safe, Andrew.
No, I tend to agree. I mean, if what they can do in the street, if they start sinking, they're no safer in the street or in the house.
At least if the house starts sinking, you can still climb out an upstairs window and not be outside. But and you know, sort of get outside if you have to. But honestly, I think we're probably better off in the shelter. At least we don't get wet.
As long as it doesn't collapse on us, we should be fine.
Rather worried it's gonna.
Well, then stay upstairs so that there's less collapsing. Well, less to collapse on you, and you know, you're near the top of the rubble then.
It only takes one beat.
The three of you then feel quite a big shift, and you almost lose your balance as part of the floor just slants in this direction. You hear the sound of a chair, say, just kind of scraping along the wall towards the gravity taking it along. See, all we have to do is just wait, and it'll happen. We'll go into the earth, and we'll be safe.
Into the earth, you say?
Oh yeah, that's where I saw them last.
And what were the names of these things you saw?
They wouldn't tell me. They were too proud.
Are they sort of a funny sort of pyramid shape with?
Yeah, big, almost crab claws, big beady eyes.
That's where I was.
Tall. You've been to the city too?
Yes, I've just returned actually. Not that anyone believes me.
How did you get there?
I looked
And
into.
he actually grabs you by the lapels and starts shaking you like he has to know.
Steady on, steady on. There was a device, a strange theodolite.
What device? What's it look like?
Oh, it's an arrangement of mirrors made of brass and things. I think mirrors and lenses and.
Like this, and he starts drawing it out on like a spare piece of floor, and it is what you saw, what you.
Yeah. We've got one of those.
A white man found this. The man I was working for. He sent it off to be shipped somewhere as a gift. He wouldn't let us touch it.
Sounds like the very same one. Who are you working for?
Carver, he was called. John Carver. American.
Where is he?
Still out there, probably. At the old city.
They found a city. They're doing an archaeological dig.
Yeah. He was talking about a discovery of the century. And I didn't realize at the time, but I think it's, and he points at the drawings again, kind of on the floor. I think it's one of their older places. I think he knows about it, or he's going to find out soon. He was a smart man. Dangerous.
And what was it you did for this man?
But by the time I'd finished, I was helping to dig and sort stuff out. So I didn't get to see the city or anything, but I've seen it. I've seen it in my dreams. It makes total sense. When we opened it up, I did see these huge steps going down and down into the dark. And it was so cold. Colder than the night, in the desert night.
I know how to put an end to all of this with a very powerful ritual. We can actually save the whole world from the dead people, but we're going to need help from lots of people who are willing to help.
What ritual?
Well, it's a powerful magical spell. It can save us all. The thing is, we need a lot of people. I was wondering if we were able to well, the problem is most white people just wouldn't believe us because they think they're better than everyone and know everything, even though they're really stupid. We know, don't we? We know the truth. So perhaps amongst your people there are some that understand the old myths. You know, the bat god. And I was wondering if you knew where they were. The father of all bats. You know,
Yes,
I've worship that.
Yeah, well, no, we don't worship that, but the rainbow snake had a big battle with this bat god back in the dream time. So yes, I know about it.
So, are there enough people who have, amongst any of your people, do you know of any groups that
There are
would be willing to help?
many indigenous groups. They all have their own traditions and customs, and I don't know them all.
Well,
But
that's of course understandable.
they all know the stories of the dreaming, and they know that the father of all bats is a bad entity.
Do they all have the same story? Do they, or similar
Yes,
story?
mostly. Yes, mostly. They will know if you speak to them about the father of all bats. They will know what you mean. They have different names in other places in Australia, but certainly here and in Western Australia, they will know what you mean.
Do you know some of the other names that get used?
Face Eater is the other one.
Face it. Okay.
That's more towards the east from here. I have heard the name Haunter in the Dark before as well, but that seems like a newer name. Maybe not from us.
I see.
Are you wanting me to help you get my people?
Oh,
Yes, if you could. It would really help if you are able to convince them.
Where are you heading from here?
Well, I think we need to cast spell. I think based on our maps, I think it has to be where the city was opened, isn't it?
yes, we were thinking that. weren't we?
that mine shaft thing.
The place where you did the digging, which we've not
Yeah.
been to yet. I've not seen it myself yet, but I think it would have to be there.
There are many groups of us out there. Yes. If I come with you, I could maybe help.
Well, I suppose
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, well,
we've got enough insane people already. I suppose one more.
we need him to talk to the people, his people.
Yeah.
If we can't do the convincing, then yeah, it might help to have someone there.
And then this ritual, will that take us to the great city?
It's so powerful we won't even need to go
Why not?
because it will be safe here.
Give me a persuade roll.
I am not spending 41 luck.
Would you like to push the roll?
Yes.
How are you going to push the roll?
Let me see if it succeeds first of all. Okay. So, how do I do it? No. Remember how it was before this threat emerged? Put everything back. For thousands of years, it will be safe.
He looks the most lucid you've seen him so far, and he puts the knife down and steps over his dead mother, and out towards where the three of you are. There is another shift in the ground, more reactions outside, thunderclap, and so on. And it's definitely getting a little bit wobbly.
I holster my weapon at this point because I've got a feeling I'm going to need both hands free.
What do you do now then?
Just trying to work.
Oh,
Do we think this weather is supernatural?
it seemed to come out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
it's not the type of weather for this season.
It seems
So is somebody casting magic?
coincidental.
Because as well, I mean, if the houses are being washed away, then obviously this hasn't happened in a long time, is it? If this does happen, it's not happened in a long time.
Either we're extremely unlucky with the weather, or someone's guiding it. It's that simple.
Uh,
So who could be onto us or onto him? Because no one knows we're here, do they?
unless there's someone watching him.
Could be. Is
Unless
someone
it's
watching
him. Have you been in contact with this Carver, was it? You've been in touch with this Carver recently.
Are you saying that to Johnny?
Yeah, to Johnny, yeah.
No. He sent us away, and I didn't hear a thing. But this house, it has felt strange recently. More the reason to send my parents away to the dream time. It's for their own good.
Is that what you were doing with the knife? You were sending them to the dream time?
Yes. They were too dangerous.
Why were they dangerous?
Because they were like them out in the desert. They were too untrustworthy. They didn't understand. And again, he's starting to kind of lapse back into not making much sense.
Well, this place where the city was, it's a long way from here, though, isn't it?
Yes.
Why would this house be dragged down to the city?
I've dug into the ground many times to try and get to them.
I think now I'm actually seeing eye to eye with Andrew.
See, it's not that I wasn't doing it right. It's just that I'm ahead of the curve.
And again, you feel another shift under your feet.
Are there any rock outcrops around here?
I don't think so. Let me double check on a map.
If everything's
we
sinking,
built our town on sediment.
No, you've certainly not seen any rocky outcrops or cliffs or anything. It's all been that kind of darkish, dusty terrain, quite soft.
I thought if everything's sinking, that would be the best place to go.
I mean, there might be something around. You
I
do
do
remember
agree. I
seeing
do agree
the
with higher
peaks
ground.
as you were coming into the town, and I did describe this in the last session as well. There is kind of higher ground nearby.
We should head for that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's maybe a couple of miles away, so it'll be a bit of a walk unless you try and find the car or truck.
I don't know if we could drive in this anyway, could we?
Well, I mean, if we stay around long enough, we could swim our way up. But no. I think we're just gonna have to make best speed. Just make best speed for higher ground.
Do you have a raincoat? Because I tend to wear silks and rain, not good combination.
Yes, coats, yeah. And he starts heading downstairs with some difficulty, given the angle. You actually realize that the stairs are quite kind of steep in one direction now. That he's trying to get down to a cupboard under the stairs or something.
I believe MC
coats.
Escher has been designing this house.
It'll almost turn into the upside down house in Brighton at this rate. I think it's Brighton. Somewhere anyway. Anyway, back to Liu. So you have been kind of doing the endurance game of you've been trudging up this fast flowing what was a path at some point with this poor nurse. And after a few minutes, you hear her start moaning as if she's not well.
Can you hold on a little bit more?
There's something, I can feel something in my stomach.
Maybe the bug you ate. Not the smartest move.
Yeah, but it really hurts. I mean it. It's
Do we see a safer place where sand is not sliding or
there's sort
ground
of more
collapsing?
open ground where you could maybe, deviate a bit away from the path if you need to either put her down or, something
Yeah,
like that. That's a little bit
I'd
more
like
solid.
to put her down
Okay.
and put 2 fingers down her throat to let her vomit.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you do so, and she does indeed vomit. She kind of has to keel up like this and kneel down and blah. But after she sort of pants for a bit, she starts moaning again. The pain comes back, and you can see when she's clutching her stomach, it looks quite round.
Trying to remain unseen, I'd like to unholster my gun.
Okay. I think it's still there. The pain's not going away.
I can tell.
What are you doing?
No, that was a joke. I'm not arming a gun in front of
Okay.
her. Maybe try and vomit a little bit more. Maybe that'll go away.
Okay, I'll try. And she does try for a few more minutes, and if you want to try and assist, you can, but still to no avail. You also feel when you're kind of helping her, she feels very hot, and you almost feel like there is something moving inside her, but it's quite big. And at one point, you actually see these like little lumpy bits come out of her stomach, just
Okay.
like bulge for a moment.
No. I stop you right there. As she's crawling on the floor, puking, I shot her in the back of the head.
Okay. You shoot in the back of the head. Let's see how much damage.
I think we could have cut the
Yes.
bug out, but okay.
With
Yeah,
what? My bare hands.
give me a damage roll for that.
Ah. 10.
Oh, okay. So she immediately goes down on the floor and kind of sinks into the mud a little bit. More thunderclaps go off, and she remains motionless as the rain just pours down further.
With my foot, I'd like to flip her belly up to see if the thing in her stomach is still moving.
Okay. Give me a power roll as you do that. Since it's been a little while now with your bout of madness.
It's a 1.
Ooh, okay.
1.
You feel this calmness come across you. First, initially, you think because you sorted out a threat, but it's almost like this veil of paranoia is beginning to disappear. You certainly don't hear the sound of any bugs or creatures anywhere anymore.
I
And
found a way to deal with my madness. Kill people, cold-blooded. Works every time like a charm.
when you turn her over, she's definitely dead. You don't notice any more movement in your stomach, but then it suddenly dawns on you that her cheek, her neck, her hands are not swollen at all, and it's as if they never have been.
I'm so mad. For fuck's sake. So nothing I saw was real.
That's what you're perceiving right now, yes. Or even if maybe there were a few swarms of bugs, they were not nearly as many as you saw.
And she didn't eat one.
Maybe she ate something, but maybe not that.
Oh. No, I'm not liking this.
Can I have a sanity roll, please?
Fuck this game. That's a pass.
Okay. Yeah, so you don't lose any more sanity, fortunately. But you're obviously going through many different thoughts at this point. You're hearing a very kind of distant panicking as well now that you're near the main sort of settlement, from other voices and things.
I'm thinking if would it be worth it to take the body back? At the same time, I don't think it is. So, trying to be careful, I'll just try and speed my way back, leaving
Okay.
Charlotte where she is.
Okay. Fair enough then. She has a bit of a muddy grave then. So you start heading back, and yeah, you can get a general idea of the direction. And actually, now it's getting a little bit lighter, so you can see a bit better. So yeah, you head on up back towards the main settlement. As for the other three, if you're trying to get down the stairs now, is that the plan?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's definitely getting softer on the ground, and especially given he just mentioned about how he'd been digging loads of holes, that is kind of worrying. So can you give me dex rolls, please, as you get down the stairs?
Pass.
Pass. I spend 2 to make it hard if I need to.
No, you don't have to. You just need some pass.
That is an extreme pass.
Okay, so you get down without any issues with balance or falling over or anything, and you follow him. He grabs some coats, not necessarily ones that will fit you. In fact, the one he gives you, Lynn, is quite big, but at the same time, it's warm. It seems to be waterproof for the most part. And again, another thunderclap, much closer this time, rings out nearby, and you hear the sound of glass cracking in the kitchen.
Time to go.
Yeah, let's get out.
Yep.
Okay. So you want to head to higher ground. So when you get outside, the rain hits you with this density, but you do see this little bit of light just concentrated nearby, which maybe there's a little bit of an opening in the clouds. But yeah, you eventually find out where the direction is for this higher ground and for the hills nearby, and you start heading on up. And
do we actually do we have any sort of indication as to the direction of the storm?
It's difficult to really tell. Apart from this sort of bit of light that's starting to bleed through the darkness, not really. No. There's panicking going on when you start, moving out on the street. It's very, very muddy, with this very kind of soft sand just flowing. And yeah, people's cars are getting stuck in the sand. There's people trying to retrieve things from their house, things like that. In fact, at one point, you get a couple of people try and get you to help them. I mean, you don't have to, but
Absolutely not.
No, we won't go into their house, but advise them to move to higher ground as well.
okay. So you basically kind of leave them be, and you trudge up this almost like a stream that's coming down, and you take a left, and Johnny helps you, like guides you basically going up and up into this the set of hills. It's still quite soft here, but not nearly as bad, fortunately. Although by the time you get up there, your shoes and your trousers are definitely really quite dirty, and your silks as well, Lynn, from trudging through this fast flowing soil. You spend the time there for a couple of hours before the rain finally starts subsiding and getting slower and slower, and more of this light starts emanating now. And I'm going to jump back to you as well, just to make sure that he kind of catches up in game, as it were. So when you head back into town, it's about 10 minutes from the slow trudging. It's a similar sort of situation. You can see this very small amount of light, people panicking and things.
I'll try and locate my mates
Okay.
if they left the house yet.
Okay. you
Please
you
don't.
head
We don't want to be murdered.
you head to the house where they went, and you see that the ground floor is half sunk into the ground. There doesn't appear to be any sign of movement inside, although the lights are on.
Then I just shout their names to see
Okay.
if they answer.
Doesn't that rather
Andrew?
that sums up the session so far? The lights are on, but nobody's home.
Yeah, you shout a couple of times. There's no movement or reply from inside.
And I'm having a look around on the outside then to see if
Okay.
they maybe went uphill.
Okay. Do you have track?
I don't believe. Oh, yes, I do.
Okay, you can give me a track roll, but given the softness and how wet the ground is, you'll get a penalty.
Of
But
course.
yeah, you're fine to have a look for some footprints or something like that.
It's a pass either way.
Okay. Yeah, they're definitely left here. They've gone further up this hill. Whether they're trying to maybe head out of the town or maybe somewhere else, you're not sure.
I keep following the tracks as long as I'm able to
Okay.
catch up with them.
Okay. At times you have to be quite cautious and examine the ground a bit more to see have they changed direction or are they carrying on this road. But what I'll say is that, yeah, you do eventually realize that they must have gone to higher ground, which seems fairly sensible for you. So, yeah, you head on up and eventually you find them, and they're kind of trying to keep huddled and sheltered on this hillock with this person that you realize to be Johnny Bigbush, who's looking a bit worse for wear.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad you're all fine, guys. And I'm glad I was able to find you.
Regrettably, we seem to have lost Charlotte in the storm. I think you were the last person to see her. Do you know where she is?
Maybe that's a conversation for another time, since...
No, we should find her. She's our nurse.
Yeah, she's in danger. She's down there.
She's not findable.
She's not findable.
What do
She
you
gets
get
swept away in the
I
rivers.
may have done things because I saw things, but I'm really not keen of talking about this now, if you don't mind.
What do you mean you may have done things? If Charlotte's out there and she's in trouble, we need to go help her.
Me talking to my gun's looking really good right now, isn't it?
I just get in Lynn's face and whisper, I shot her in the face. Okay? She's out of trouble. Please, I'll explain. She's not in danger. Shut up. You don't have to pay her. It's a win for you. I'm
I'm
explaining
gonna have to
why.
pay her damages now. Wait, when
No.
you say shot her in the face,
As in this.
you mean mortally, as in
No, for game.
no,
With a rubber band.
no. I mean like.
Did
she's
you
dead,
kill
dead.
her?
Well, you technically don't survive often if you're shot in the back of your head. Do you?
We might be better off with the knife murderer than with the.
I'll try and explain. So we were by the riverbank, since you're not letting this go for a second. We were by the riverbank. It started
Of course
to
we're not
rain.
letting it go. You shot someone.
Yes, it started to rain. We would try and get
That's not
uphill like you
normally
did. Shut up a second, please. We went in the forest. I saw bugs crawling all over her. I freaked out. The bugs started to bite her. She was all swollen and stuff. I think she ate one of those, and I saw the thing growing inside her. And I thought about the thing that I shot in Ho Fang's house, and I freaked out. And I said, I'm not letting some sort of weird god creature coming out of somebody to walk this earth. So I shot her, hopefully, thinking that this bug won't come back to life. Turns out, after I shot her, she wasn't swollen, she didn't have anything in the stomach, and I imagined things. I didn't want to do this.
I just talked to my gun.
I think you need a new story for the trial.
If you rat me out, I will. Hopefully, I won't. I won't need that.
I
Come on, guys, you know what we are facing. It was plausible.
I'm not quite sure how we square this circle.
So
Can we
Yes,
get
it-
onto higher ground first, and then we can discuss our moral and
We're
theological?
on high ground.
well, she
Fuck
could
off.
walk.
That was I was just telling you. Just wait a bit, and then we're discussing things.
She could be washed away by now anyway. They probably won't even find the body for a while.
Well,
This weather.
we also have another new member of our group who's also murdered a few people today.
What a time to come back to.
Hmm.
By this point, the rain has stopped completely. It's still very humid, and again, the ground where you are is steaming a bit from all the vapor. Bit lighter now, still overcast, but it's definitely subsiding almost as quickly as it came.
Well,
It's strange that nothing has happened really apart from the rain, or the murders obviously, but it seemed to be a really unusual storm, but hasn't done anything apart from being very heavy.
not.
I'm beginning to
Not
wonder if it's
aware
not magical, perhaps, after all.
I don't know.
We don't have enough information to
Yeah.
determine that.
I think we need to head back to town.
Well, straight back into the place where the very powerful magic user apparently knows where we are, but we don't know where they are or even who they are.
Yes, but all our
And-
stuff
and-
is in
Wait.
town.
Magic
And all the dead
users.
bodies.
Well, it's just a theory that it's possible the rain may have been summoned. And it was mentioned as a possibility, and
It's very unusual this time of year to have this much rain suddenly like that.
Yeah, I don't really want to face someone who's able of such a thing.
I
Or the police, eh?
In any case, I think we're done in this town, and probably the sooner we leave, the better.
Yes. Some of our possessions are still at the hotel, providing the hotel is still standing.
Everyone's
So
dead. We can leave.
let's head back there and then leave and never come back. And
Ever.
just before we go do that, can we all just agree we will never speak of today ever again, because necessity dictates that I have to travel with you to save the damn planet, and I'm not sure that's entirely what I want for my own life or my own death. So let's never speak of this again, and also never do that again.
I'll
Just to
try
be
not
clear, if you imagine me with bugs in me, that's how I want to go out.
Oh, you told them, okay.
Yes, in the end, I told them. Just to end the whole summary with Andrew saying, "Can we go uphill and then discuss the moral dilemma of the thing?" Right after I told them, "I will
Moral
explain
dilemma.
this in a bit."
No, let's never discuss it again.
No, it's like
Provided,
this day never happened.
provided we're of the understanding that I do not want any mercy killing ever. I will rather suffer than risk being murdered by your insanity.
Please be my guest.
Anybody else, mercy killing's fine. Okay, just
Oh, it's a real shame. She was really nice. She helped me a lot.
She was very, very nice and quite easy on the eye.
Yeah, can
She
I
will
just
be
end
missed.
the day on a note? Fuck you guys. You two, fuck off. Thank you. No, Lynn, not a word. We're not discussing. I don't really want to discuss the matter with you anymore. I'm not saying anything. Please do the same. Let's just pack our shit and go. Thank you.
And it was at this
What
point
is wrong
that
with
Jason,
you?
and at this point Jason realized that
What have I done?
it's at this point the keeper realized that if the players aren't killed by the NPCs, there's a very good chance they're going to kill each other.
Yes. Turns out I don't need to do anything now. I've set things in motion. It's like I don't know, Love Island, but super tense or interesting. So
I
you
do
head
believe
back
that
in.
Winston and Francois were a little bit on
You watch
bitter
a
terms.
you watch a very different version of Love Island than most people have seen.
Well, I suppose texts aren't a thing in the 1920s anyway. So you head back into town, and it is roughly as you left it, in that it's in quite bad disarray. Some of the houses on the outskirts are almost entirely destroyed as they've collapsed from the foundations, just giving way completely. Fortunately, in terms of the place you stayed, the Victoria Bar, and a couple of other larger buildings, they've got more hefty foundations underneath that raise them from the ground. So there is a bit of damage, but it's not, life-threatening or life-changing per se. Although the bartender from last night looks really pissed off, of course, from the damage, and he's sort of throwing his hands up outside and moaning at other members of staff, like, well, what are we going to do? This has not happened in my lifetime, ever.
Well, hopefully, if everyone's busy, we might be able to sneak away without anyone really noticing us. Like we came with a white woman and left with a Aborigine.
Well, it was a disaster. Maybe they miscounted.
I mean, the bartender's probably going to notice you if you go in to get your things.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do just that.
Yeah, go on then.
He's quite relieved to see you, and
Because he wants paying.
Oh, we're not doing that.
no, because he was quite relieved that you weren't harmed. That's why.
Oh, we're not doing the paying thing. To hell with that. We're not doing that at all. If he asks for money, we're going to ask him for a discount at the very least for the state of the room.
What, you
Is it
really
clean?
think I could have preempted something this colossal to happen? It's the dry season. This doesn't happen. And even in the wet season, you don't get the whole road just washed away like that.
No, but I have been in my room and I'm not used to sleeping at a 30-degree angle.
You've just come from somewhere else. You weren't there.
Head up to my room. I'm going to get my stuff.
Also, hello to Sam. Welcome.
Hi, Saffron.
Yeah,
daughter.
so... Aha.
My daughter,
Makes sense.
Saffron.
So, yeah, you head up with a little bit of difficulty to your rooms, get your things and so on. There's been a little bit of leakage, I'll say, in one of your rooms. What?
Just showing
those-
Saffron. I'm using no dice.
Oh. All right. In fact, let's see whose room was affected. Lynn, unfortunately, quite a lot of water's leaked through your window.
Mm.
It's mostly damaged the bed rather than any effects that you might have left in there.
Okay, well, I'm not bothered. I'm not staying there.
No.
I'll pay up for my room and leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very kind of you, Miss, given what's happened.
Well,
Oh, speaking of which, where's your nurse lady woman who was with you?
oh, she was actually with the
Called away,
with the
looking
Chinese
after some of the
fellow.
wounded.
Apparently got washed away. We're actually going to be heading out looking for her. See if
Oh,
we
right.
can find her.
Okay.
But
Well, if you need any help with that, let us know, and we'll come and try and
we'll
find
do.
her.
But in any case, we're gonna pick her up and then head on out of town.
Yeah. And unless we need help, we'll let you get on because you've got a lot to do here.
Yeah, tell me about it. I did always think to myself I should reinforce the foundations, but I never did I?
You've done a lot better than a lot of the houses.
Yeah, so I can see. Maybe I'll take a walk later and see if anyone else needs some help. You notice as well that your car, like truck even, beg pardon, a couple of the front wheels are embedded into this wet ground.
I have to dig it out.
It's that kind of... It's muddy underfoot, but it's so wet on top. It's almost like this kind of dark lake. If you've ever been in a place where it's just rained torrentially and there's not enough soil for the water to actually settle inside. But yes, it will need maybe even more kind of pushing rather than digging because it's so wet underfoot.
Okay. Well, Lynn, if you want to jump in and drive, we'll push.
Sure.
Yep. Shunt.
Okay. Actually, give me those of you pushing. Give me a strength roll. Whoever's taking the lead on that. Lynn, give me a drive auto, please.
I passed.
Pass
That's a
by
pass
two.
on my strength.
I
Just a
failed on
pass.
I failed on my strength.
Okay. It's fine. So it takes a little bit maybe for you, Andrew, but yeah, you do manage to get it out with minimal churning of the mud up or anything like that. So yes, you do get it out and you push it onto a slightly more solid surface. But yeah, the two front wheels are caked in this mud that you might have to kind of scrape off a bit before actually setting off proper.
It should come off when we're driving, though, shouldn't it, really?
Absolutely.
Did you ask for a drive out or roll too?
No, just for Lynn, because she was the one who was
Okay.
trying to reverse it out. Are you intending to actually look for Charlotte then? Or were you just kind of
Yes,
saying that
no.
to...
Yeah, no. I mean, why? I know that Liu killed her.
Fair enough, you seemed to care a lot more about her the night before.
Actually, no. You know what? I don't even trust that Liu even killed her. I think there is the possibility that he's so mad he didn't even do that. I think we should at least A, check the body, and B, if there is a body, we need to leave it somewhere out in the wilderness, not in town, where there might then be a manhunt for two Chinese people. So
We weren't in town, but I can lead you to the place.
yes, let's do that.
You weren't, but you were like a few minutes away, sort of deal. So, so you lead them down towards the river. Excuse me, and about halfway down, you do see a familiar kind of clearing, or not really more of a clearing, but it's clearer. The trees are less dense here, and you do remember roughly it was around here somewhere where it happened. And it doesn't take you long to find her body. She's still faced up after you rolled her over, sodden wet, and you can see that the ground is slightly stained in red from the back of her head where you shot at her, and she's very much dead.
Did the bullet go right through, or was it embedded in her head somewhere?
It seems to be embedded, but it is a
Okay.
shock for all of you.
Right, we're going to have to. When I say we, I mean Liu is going to have to use a stone to get the bullet out and then make it look like a stone wound, and then we can take her into the village and say she was killed in the storm. Otherwise, we might have to deal with the manhunt that follows the fact that, I don't know, there's a Chinese murderer around and two possible suspects.
Okay. I do that. Don't worry.
How is your first aid skill?
First aid. Base 30.
I've got
Okay.
it.
I mean, obviously, you're not trying to do a super accurate job, but also it is deep inside her head. It's definitely gone through her skull most of the way, so you'll need to try and get all of it out intact. So yeah, give me a roll if anyone wants to assist, then obviously you can.
I don't know if I want to assist, really, because
No,
she was very nice to the rest of us. So.
she was really just such a gentle, caring,
Does
lovely
Liu have
Again,
a bonus
guys,
die
it's not
from
something
anything?
I did lightheartedly. Please stop pushing the fucking knife in the wound. I'm doing the roll myself. It's a pass.
Okay. So you find the bullets and you think you can get it out. It's going to take some time, but if you're careful, then yes, you will be able to get it out and kind of prise it out intact. So I'm happy for you to spend, say, half an hour's worth of careful work trying to prise it out of her skull, and then with a little pop, it comes out.
The sound was so unnecessary, Jason.
Love you too.
Like the whole episode, to be honest.
I was thinking this when I was like coming up with ideas. I'm thinking, is this a bit much?
Is it too much? No, he can handle it.
No, I mean, there's just been terror, bloodshed, innocent people dying. It's a fairly typical Cthulhu.
Yeah, so
But,
we're
Maybe
running
I'm
under-
out. Maybe
Well, let's-
I'm out of shape as well.
We're at 2 hours 22 minutes, so it's less than a body an hour.
Yeah.
More than a body an hour, I mean. So.
Yes, indeed. Well, I did say you might need the whiskey. But yes, anyway, so you got the bullet out, and you can retrieve the bullet, of course, if you want to hide it or dispose of it elsewhere. So yeah, you can make it look like a stone wound or something blunter. That's fine.
Mhm.
And then we take her body into the town and
Yeah, I take out my jacket and cover her face with it, and then load her maybe in the back of the truck. I don't know. I don't recall what kind of truck we took. If it was some sort of van or an actual truck where we can dispose
like
the
a-
body.
It's a
Bedford
flat,
or something. Flatbed.
like a flatbed, yeah. So I thought it was.
Oh, right. I don't think you ever specified really, so I thought it was quite a big truck.
Yeah, like a lorry, but with a flatbed.
Yeah, imagine some sort of covered flatbed, but we didn't really
Yeah.
specify it, as you said.
Yeah, it would definitely be covered because you're in Australia. The heat. You wouldn't have it as a. It would be like a pickup truck. It would be a actual sort of lorry of a canvas roof or something.
yeah.
That's how I pictured it, at least.
Not Bedford or something.
Oh, actually, could I have a group luck roll, please?
Ooh, who's on those?
I'm on 52.
Mine's 48. It's the start of the session.
62. So not me.
Yeah, it's me then, is it?
No, it will be me with 42.
Okay.
Saffron, I'm using your dice.
Oh, you can't put the blame on Saffron.
I'm not. I'm just telling her. I'm using her dice. Of course, it's not her fault. Dice are wonderful. But not with that roll.
Okay, so when you go to put her back in the back of the truck, you do see that some of the covering has been damaged.
Of the truck. Okay.
Yeah.
Just canvas.
Yeah.
Can pick up some more.
Yeah.
Or maybe stitch it back up. If
Either
needed.
way.
Yeah, you could do that, Lou. But first, you got to deliver this body.
Jesus, it's one-way traffic.
Oh, I'm
You're
sorry.
psychopaths.
Was it me who went off my head and shot our dear friend?
She wasn't a friend. First of all.
She was an
Second of
extremely
all,
nice employee.
sounded the right thing to do to save my skin and yours, because God knows what that could have been.
Sorry.
Turns
Are
out
you
it was
talking
nothing, but
about
it was my
again?
fault. Yeah,
No
you started
bragging.
it.
No bragging.
I'm not bragging. How could I brag about this bullshit?
Okay. So, is there anything else you want to do in town before you leave?
Yes, leave.
I mean, pretty much just leave. But if the general store has survived, then maybe we'll get some provisions and see if they've got canvas. But other than that, no.
Actually, if a general store hasn't really survived, let's get some supplies.
Well, it
It'd be cheaper.
has survived. It has survived, but at the same time, there's been a massive fucking monsoon come through the entire town, so a lot of stuff is gone already. People have already bought it, or the storeman's been kind of giving things away a bit as like
Bloody
for goodwill and
looters.
stuff. So you do get limited supplies, but especially with things like water at the minute, that's quite scarce in this shop.
There's loads of water about.
Drinkable water. Yeah, let's get as what supplies we can. Stock up with some ammo as well, providing it's dry.
He does have a couple of boxes of ammo. That's more abundant than the water. There's about 6 pints of water left.
We'll take all the water.
Yeah.
Any spare water containers. And do you honestly think we need to restock the 1 bullet with?
I think we should stock up just in case we're passing a hospital.
What?
Plenty of nurses there. Plenty of nurses there. We should just we should just I think we've broken Becky.
You've broken me, let alone Becky.
No, seriously, the serious part of the argument is we don't know what to expect. I would rather be slightly more tooled up and not need it and not have it.
That's kind of what Winston said, and look what happened to him.
Winston, that was purely unfortunate.
He was hoarding bullets in his hotel room.
Yes, and if he had them on him rather than in the hotel room, he might have survived. So there's something to be said for that.
You've learnt your lesson. Okay, so I'll say that you get a couple of boxes of handgun bullets. Mm-hmm. They're available. No shotgun shells though left. You get 6 pints of water. There's a couple more water containers as well.
Okay. It should be too bad.
How much did we use to get here?
You basically were traveling for the whole day. So you were still traveling around the hottest time. Just to remind you, it is still winter, but it does get to about 28 degrees at the most in midday around that time. So you would have been drinking water, and I've not said you've been dehydrated or anything. So let's say, I promise I'm thinking in liters here when it's really not at this point in time. Let's say you've got 2 gallons left.
Okay. Sounds like a lot.
Won't last long.
Well, we're following a river back, so all we need to do is find a bit of fast-flowing water and we're fine. And there should be loads of that, given how much water just came down.
Mm-hmm. We should be able to get back easy enough.
I just think with everything we've come up against in China, and now possibly, supernaturally occurring rainstorms and bouts of madness for several members of the group, I think we should be told
that kind of thing. Yeah.
I wasn't going there. I was just I was leaving it at bouts of madness.
I'm just not sure we should be stocking up on their tools of the trade.
In terms of the river part, you really only pass it briefly. The river itself snakes northwest, whereas you're really going more of a northeast.
But that's why we're deliberately taking empty water containers as well.
So you're not
stock up as we get near
the river, and for the majority of the journey, actually.
I would have thought the road would have followed it. Never mind. Okay.
Strangely not. I'm just looking. Not to get to Darwin. No, there is like
What
a
about if we don't go to Darwin? That'd be too far to get to anywhere else, though, wouldn't it? It'll take much longer.
Yeah.
We haven't got provisions for that. Okay, Darwin it is.
We go back down to get the ship either to go to port.
Yeah.
That was called down, or
Either Port Hedland or Sydney.
Sydney.
Darwin's by far the closest kind of main settlement. There are a couple of little like villages
I'll take
along
it.
the coast, but
Well,
It's further south to Alice Springs.
we've got to make a decision.
Oh, yeah.
Now that we have Johnny with us, and he might be able to sort of rally the people, so that we'll have enough blood for this sacrifice, for the ritual. Do we go to Sydney first, or do we sort of strike while we've got momentum, and just hit this place and do the ritual now?
We haven't got enough provisions to do the trek out there at the moment. We would need to at least go back to Darwin to stock up.
No, that's what I'm saying. After Darwin.
Yeah.
We need to go from Darwin by boat to one or the other.
Yeah. I'm just thinking now that we've got Johnny with us, that changes. I mean, my original thought was go to Sydney and, get what information we can from there. But the momentum has shifted slightly because we've got this
If you
guy.
recall, with the spell, they have to be willing but not completely know what it's about. They have to have no understanding of mythos. So I think understanding knowing a folklore legend being passed down is fine, but
it has to be innocent as well, wouldn't it?
that's what it means. It's like basically in mechanical terms having no Cthulhu mythos.
Okay.
So we have to be careful about how we use this guy. Because, worst case scenarios is it explains way too much, and also A, it scares people off, but B, imparts too much actual knowledge.
Do you think the guy in Sydney will have any useful information for us? That's the big question. Do we need what he knows or not?
I go back to what I originally said when I touted the idea of going to Sydney. My fear is it might not be anything. My worry is we don't go, and there's some small tidbit of information which on its own wouldn't have made much sense, but with everything else we've got, it would end up being priceless.
Ultimately, the thing we have to do here is this ritual. We may have to do something else on top. There might be another cult here, whatever. But the thing is, we have to do this ritual.
Yes, we do.
We also really need to create the capstone itself, because we still don't have it and don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I will say is, again, that Dodge is good with identifying stonework, so he might be able to help there. But also, one thing which I've now highlighted on the Miro board is that part of Cowles' lecture talks about these strange, tall, monolith-type structures out in the Western Desert.
All right, let's go talk to him. We can get the capstone made in Sydney somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So we're doing Sydney. We're going Darwin.
We're going to Sydney.
Yeah, we got more chances there.
Okay.
But yeah, we also possibly pick up a load of willing archaeologists for our party at the end. At least the interns won't have too much knowledge.
And I think on that note, we'll end there. Although I've just realised I forgot to remind you about your luck rolls at the start. I'm so sorry.
No, I did that.
I did
before
that.
I came
You did?
on.
Okay, good.
I failed one new luck roll and just did the Well,
I just
Oh.
extremed, so
Okay. What I'll say, because you're going to go round to Sydney, and because you've technically done a little bit of a side quest that I sort of made up, I'm happy for you to get another improvement phase in this sort of week or two of going round to Sydney.
Oh, okay. I'm writing that down.
Don't have to do it now,
Well,
but
I only have one thing I can improve.
you're not going to be able to learn anything new. But I would allow you to improve your skills if you picked any.
No, my my dice are incredible at the moment. They are.
The dice giveth, the dice taketh
what
away.
happens when you equal a skill? Which way
It's
does that
equal
go?
or it's below. It's equal or lower. The
No, you have to.
No, it's higher.
yeah, for an improvement you need to get higher, not equal,
So equal
or higher.
doesn't. Right.
Yeah,
Damn
equal
it!
doesn't. No.
I had a really high skill, and I rolled it exactly, and I'm like, oh come on!
It gets harder when you get further up.
that's a fail.
Everything else is improving now, actually, which is really good. Wow, that just went up by 10.
Has anyone got a skill of 90 now?
No, nowhere near it.
I didn't improve anything but brawling. I failed all the other improvements.
Well,
There were like 5.
I should have kung fu Liu at the end just so I could tick it.
I'm about 50-50.
You should have.
wow. Well, I hope you enjoyed that nice little finale to Top End before you go down
I really
south.
enjoyed this guild trip.
Add it to all the
after
others
the
you've had
actual
in our
shit.
games.
Well, I'm sure some of the others will get their own.
Oh, we've all had ours.
Yeah.
The stakes are
We've
getting
all-
higher.
We've all had our turn at the capstone.
I was just remembering the cultist bitch times. There were better times. Or
Who's
when
doing
the
recap?
worst thing that could happen to you was Francois yelling at you, imbecile.
I know, it was a better time, wasn't it?
Easier times.
And Saffron,
Better and easier
Saffron
times.
was just saying she was really enjoying that session.
Oh, good. I was slightly worried that she'd think, what the fuck does my dad do? What is going on? So I'm pleased you enjoyed it. Who's doing recap next week?
I don't
Funnily
know.
enough, I think it's me.
I believe it's Ronnie because I did
Yeah.
the week before this.
Yeah, and I think it was
Becky
So
before
it's
that.
either Ronnie or Becky.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
will double
me.
check. I should know by now, but I'll double check.
I know I'm due.
You think we'd remember after all this, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah.
we keep getting sidetracked by horrors and things happening, you know.
Mm. Right. Okay. Well, I will end the broadcast.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
See you,
everyone.
folks.
To
Thanks
those
for
who are watching.
watching.
We will
Thank
see
you
you
for the game
later.
as always, mate.
Yeah, very good.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.